Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a world where your hard-earned money, it just loses value faster than you can possibly spend it, where the national currency becomes almost worthless, seemingly overnight. This isn't some, distant dystopian fantasy. For millions, it's a stark, brutal reality. Here at the Deep Dive, we're about to explore how people are finding an unexpected solution, a genuine lifeline, in the most modern of financial tools. Today, we're plunging headfirst into the compelling story of Venezuela, its profound economic crisis, and the surprising, powerful rise of digital currencies known as stablecoins, often called, colloquially by locals, Binance dollars. For this deep dive, we've gathered a truly fascinating stack of sources, everything from hard-hitting economic reports, global institutions, to in-depth analyses from leading crypto intelligence firms, alongside real-time market data from platforms like Binance and Circle. Our mission is clear. We're going to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge from these sources, truly understand why this incredible shift is happening, and explore what it means for you, whether you're deeply curious about the future of global finance or simply seeking those insightful aha moments that make complex topics click.
It's quite striking, actually. We're witnessing a real-world, large-scale experiment unfolding right before our eyes. This isn't merely about crypto speculation or, abstract financial theories. At its core, it's about sheer survival. Our sources reveal a society pushed to the very brink, actively innovating to protect their livelihoods. And in doing so, they're providing a powerful, undeniable case study for the entire global financial landscape. We're drawing robust insights from esteemed economic reports, including those from the IMF, alongside cutting-edge analyses from crypto intelligence powerhouses like Chainalysis, and of course, tangible market data from widely used platforms such as Binance and Circle. These diverse perspectives let us really grasp the multifaceted nature of this whole thing.
So let's begin at the epicenter of this story, Venezuela. The material we've reviewed paints a very clear, indeed alarming picture of the economic conditions there.
Indeed, the research, notably highlighted in a Cointelegraph piece and backed up by IMF reports, it really zeroes in on the core issue: hyperinflation. Venezuela's inflation surged to an astounding 229%. To put that figure into perspective, well, imagine your money losing more than two-thirds of its value in a single year.
Wow, two-thirds.
Exactly. This isn't just a cold number. It represents a daily, relentless erosion of purchasing power, a shattering of trust, and a complete destabilization of economic life. Think about what this means for an everyday family. If you earn a salary today, maybe at the start of the month, by next month, that money could literally be worth less than half of what it was.
So planning anything long-term is just out the window.
Completely impossible. Savings accounts, they become a cruel joke, evaporating faster than you can put money in. Even simple things, necessary transactions, they turn into this frantic race against the clock. You have to spend your money the moment you get it, before its value vanishes.
It's not just prices going up slowly then.
No. We're talking about essentials like food, medicine, utilities. Prices skyrocketing not just daily, but sometimes hourly. The speed of devaluation is almost, well, incomprehensible if you're used to stable currency. And this kind of runaway inflation, it fundamentally shatters trust in the national currency, the Bolívar. People are quite literally running from their own money, desperately trying to convert it into anything that holds value and doing it fast.
That must have a huge psychological impact, too.
Immense. You lose faith not just in the currency, but in the institutions, the government's ability to provide basic stability. Historically, we've seen similar things, right? Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, people needing wheelbarrows of cash for bread. It highlights that universal human need for a stable store of value, a reliable medium of exchange. It becomes incredibly desperate.
So when that fundamental trust in the Bolivar is completely shattered, it creates this huge, urgent void. What did your sources show about how Venezuelans started to fill that void? What tool emerged?
Precisely. And core principle emerges here. When fiat currency, government-issued money fails its basic functions, store of value, medium of exchange, people will find alternatives. The market, it turns out, really abhors a vacuum, especially with something as vital as money.
A grassroots movement, basically.
Born out of sheer necessity, yeah.
Yeah.
And self-preservation. This makes us ask, what happens when traditional financial systems just can't serve their population anymore? The answer, as we're seeing, is often an innovative, maybe unconventional embrace of new tech that promises to restore some economic order, some personal financial sovereignty.
And the alternative that emerged in this case wasn't the usual suspects like gold or even stacks of physical US dollars?
No, it was something distinctly digital. Our sources clearly point to a massive, widespread adoption of USDT, or what many Venezuelans started calling, Binance dollar.
Binance style.
That's right. Cointelegraph and others really underscore how citizens are increasingly relying on USDT. They're using platforms like Binance, engaging heavily through peer-to-peer, P2P markets. And this isn't just for big stuff. It's permeating everyday life, paying for groceries, getting money from family abroad.
Right. So USD2, just to clarify for everyone, it's a stablecoin pegged to the US dollar.
Exactly. Designed to be 1.1 with the US dollar.
Huh.
So 1 USDT should always be worth 1 US dollar. That stability is the key. It's a stark, almost miraculous contrast to the Bolivar, which is just plummeting.
Holding USDT is like holding digital dollars, but maybe easier to use.
In any ways, yes. Easier transfer, faster access, global reach.
Right.
Huge benefits in that environment. And the mechanics of these P2P markets are absolutely crucial here.
Why P2P specifically? Why not just use exchanges directly?
Well, in places like Venezuela, the traditional banking system can be unreliable, slow, or, importantly, subject to really strict government controls limiting access to foreign currency. P2P platforms let people bypass all that. Individuals can directly exchange stablecoins for local fiat or even goods and services without needing a bank or a central exchange holding their funds.
How does Binance fit into that P2P picture?
Binance, for example, provides a sophisticated escrow service that facilitates these trades securely. So a seller lists USDT for sale at a certain price in Bolívares. A buyer accepts, sends the Bolívares to the seller's bank account or maybe a mobile payment service. Once the seller confirms they got the Bolívares, then Binance releases the USDT from escrow into the buyer's crypto wallet.
Okay, so Binance acts like a trusted middleman for the P2P trade.
Exactly. And this whole process is often much faster, way more efficient than traditional currency exchange. Plus, it's incredibly accessible. You just need a smartphone and internet. It empowers people to get around inefficient or restrictive official channels. Let's think about practical examples. Maybe a small shop owner in Caracas. They need supplies. Instead of holding bolívares that lose value by the hour, they might price goods in USDT. A customer pays in bolívares. The shop owner immediately converts that to USDT via P2P. Boom, working capital protected.
Smart. And remittances, money from family overseas.
Huge use case. Instead of slow, expensive wire transfers with bad exchange rates and maybe government eyes on them, relatives abroad can just send USDT directly to a Venezuelan wallet. Quick, cheap. The recipient then has flexibility. Convert to bolívares for daily needs or hold the USDT to preserve value against inflation. It's a level of financial flexibility and security they just couldn't get before.
So for these individuals, it's evidently not just about trading or getting rich quick. It's literally about putting food on the table, right?
Exactly. This is stablecoin adoption at a huge scale. It's one of the clearest global examples of digital currency actively replacing failing fiat in a real economy. It's a powerful demonstration of crypto's role in solving real-world economic crises where traditional money has just failed.
It really shifts stablecoins from being just a trader's tool to an essential utility.
Absolutely. It's moving beyond speculation into the core of everyday commerce. It makes you rethink what money even is in a crisis. For millions, it's not about getting rich. It's about not getting poor even faster. It's about basic needs, financial dignity.
Now, one phrase that really jumped out from the research was de-dollarization, crypto style. That sounds almost contradictory, given it's pegged to the dollar. Can you unpack that nuance for us?
Yeah, that's a great point, and the nuance is critical. Historically, in hyperinflating economies, people instinctively flee to the physical US dollar.
Yeah.
Right? That's a classic dollarization. Yeah. But in Venezuela, we see an evolution. Instead of relying on physical greenbacks, which are hard to get, bulky to store, risky to carry.
Yeah, carrying lots of cash is never ideal.
Right. So Venezuelans are making a digital leap. They're turning to digital dollars, like USDT. This bypasses the logistical headaches, maybe even the political sensitivities of using a foreign physical currency, but crucially, it keeps the purchasing power and stability of the dollar.
So, comparing physical dollars versus digital USDT there, what are the key pros and cons?
Okay, physical cash has tangibility, right? Some people just trust what they can hold. But it's cumbersome for large amounts, hard to divide for small purchases, and carries huge security risks: theft, loss, confiscation. Plus, actually getting physical USD can be tough with capital controls or limited supply, pushing people into risky black markets with bad rates.
Makes sense. And USDT.
Digital dollars like USDT have big advantages. Super easy to transfer globally or locally almost instantly with low fees, especially via P2P. Highly divisible, you can send tiny fractions, perfect for daily microtransactions.
Right, you can't easily rip a dollar bill into small pieces.
Exactly. Storage is digital, on a phone, making large sums accessible and reducing physical security risks. And while governments might try crackdowns, the decentralized nature of P2P makes it harder to control than physical cash markets.
So crypto-style de-dollarization isn't abandoning the dollar's stability.
Not at all. It's finding a much more efficient, accessible, and secure digital path to that same dollar stability. It's modernizing the old response to currency collapse.
This isn't just a local Venezuelan story, then. Our sources suggest significant ripple effects for individuals, for global finance. Let's start with the everyday person, that lifeline aspect you mentioned.
Yeah, this trend really highlights the humanitarian side of blockchain. Where traditional systems fail, crypto steps in as a lifeline. It offers financial inclusion, stability where none existed, empowering people to protect their wealth and just participate in commerce, maintain some normalcy.
Can you give another example of that?
Sure, think of a teacher. Their salary in Bolivar is used to buy a month's groceries. Now, maybe it buys a week's worth. By converting some income or savings to USDT, they shield themselves from that rapid devaluation, preserving their purchasing power. It also helps small businesses, the backbone of any economy, manage cash flow in a stable currency. And, as we said, remittances, getting vital funds to families in a usable, value-preserving form, avoiding huge fees and delays of traditional services.
The direct benefit seems huge. People otherwise shut out of stable economic activity find a way back in.
It really can't be overstated. Millions who might face bartering or poverty due to currency collapse find a pathway. It shows how technology can sometimes provide a grassroots solution when top-down efforts fail, giving people a tool for survival and, importantly, a degree of financial autonomy in chaos.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, what about investors and traders? People watching the broader crypto market, how does this grassroots adoption impact them?
That's a critical question for market watchers. Our sources clearly show a big jump in stablecoin demand, especially USDT. This strengthens its dominance and utility way beyond just speculative trading. It confirms stablecoins as one of crypto's highest adoption verticals, not just for speculation, but for survival. This real-world utility creates a solid demand layer, kind of independent of volatile market cycles.
So it's not just traders parking funds between trades anymore.
Exactly. It's fundamental demand for a stable medium of exchange.
Yeah.
And when we look at stablecoin dominance, charts comparing USDT versus USDC versus DAI and Elatum are revealing. USDT often dominates, but USDC's growth shows increasing competition, more user choice, which is healthy.
Does this create opportunities for traders?
Definitely. It generates growing arbitrage opportunities in P2P markets across Latin America. As demand fluctuates against local currencies, price differences pop up between platforms or regions. Savvy traders can profit from those discrepancies. This real-world use provides a foundational utility that really differentiates stablecoins from more speculative assets, boosting their long-term value proposition for investors looking beyond hype.
And zooming out even further, the big picture. What are the implications for governments, for the future of global finance itself?
This raises important policy questions. Widespread, decentralized adoption of digital dollars like USDT puts pressure on governments and central banks. They have to reevaluate monetary policies.
How so?
It might accelerate pushes for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, or lead to more robust regulation of existing stablecoins. When citizens effectively ditch the national currency for a digital alternative, governments see their monetary sovereignty challenged. They face a dilemma.
Crack down or adapt?
Pretty much. Crack down and risk isolating people further, maybe fostering a bigger shadow economy. Or adapt, explore their own digital currencies, or integrate stablecoins into regulation. Our sources compellingly suggest stablecoins might even outpace Bitcoin and Ethereum in real-world usage, especially in the global south.
Really? More than Bitcoin?
In terms of daily transactions, potentially, Bitcoin and Ethereum are foundational, yes, but their volatility makes them less ideal for everyday payments where stability is key. Stablecoins offer that stability, plus the efficiency and borderless nature of crypto. This could reshape finance, making stable, digitally pegged currencies the main medium of exchange in emerging markets. A huge shift.
That is a profound thought. So maybe stablecoins are the real killer app of crypto, or could this trend in emerging markets signal the beginning of the end for traditional fiat there? Now, Venezuela isn't alone in this, as you mentioned. Our sources point to similar stories elsewhere and different approaches too. What else can we learn from other regions?
It's striking how patterns repeat. Turkey and Argentina, for instance, have also seen massive stablecoin adoption amid their own inflation crises. Very similar situation to Venezuela.
Same drivers.
That's true.
Currency devaluation, economic uncertainty.
Exactly the same pressures. People grappling with failing national currencies, desperately seeking a stable haven to preserve wealth and conduct business. They're turning to stablecoins, just like in Venezuela. It shows this isn't isolated, it's a broader trend driven by economic necessity across the global south.
But not everyone took the stablecoin route, right? El Salvador went a different way with Bitcoin.
Precisely. El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender. A totally different strategy. Both involve crypto, sure, but Venezuela's stablecoin approach is about dollar-pegged stability. El Salvador embraced Bitcoin's volatility, seeing it as a feature for potential long-term gain and, importantly, monetary sovereignty, trying to reduce reliance on the US dollar.
So the day-to-day impact is quite different.
Very different. In El Salvador, merchants must accept Bitcoin. Its value fluctuates daily. Your Bitcoin earnings could be worth much more or less tomorrow. In Venezuela, using USDT is like using a stable digital dollar, much more predictable for transactions. It highlights two really different philosophies for tackling economic crises with crypto. One seeks stability via a digital dollar. The other seeks freedom and upside from a decentralized but volatile asset.
That leads to a fascinating question for you, our listener. If you lived in an unstable economy, would you rather get paid in Bitcoin or stablecoins? Definitely something to think about. And even when governments try to fight this digital shift, like in Nigeria, it seems people find a way around it.
This really brings up the resilience of decentralized systems. Nigeria tried to crack down targeted exchanges, froze bank accounts linked to crypto.
But it didn't stop P2P usage.
Not only did it not stop it, P2P stablecoin usage continued to thrive, even expand. It highlights that resistance to censorship, the power of grassroots adoption when there's a real need. When official channels are blocked, people get creative. They use direct P2P networks, often via encrypted messaging apps, to trade digital assets for local currency.
So the demand just finds another outlet.
Exactly. It shows that the demand for viable alternatives is so strong, people will innovate and find ways around restrictions. This makes financial regulation incredibly complex. Centralized controls can often be bypassed by these resilient networks. It suggests a future where top-down enforcement faces huge challenges against digitally empowered citizens.
Lastly, our sources touched on competition and, crucially, trust within the stablecoin market itself, mentioning Circle's USDC and the contrast between FTX and Tether.
Yeah, what's fascinating is that even within stablecoins, there's competition and varying trust levels. This matters hugely when people depend on them for survival. Circle's USDC expanding in LATAM shows growing competition, giving users more choices beyond just USDT. Healthy competition often drives innovation, better transparency, maybe better reserve practices.
And the FTX collapse versus Tether's resilience, what does that tell us?
It starkly underscores the critical importance of transparency and solid, verifiable reserves for stablecoin trust, especially when survival, not speculation, is the use case. FTX, remember, was a centralized exchange that collapsed due to mismanagement, alleged fraud. A chilling reminder of centralized risk.
Right, trusting one entity with your assets.
Whereas Tether, USDT, despite market stress and lots of FUD fear uncertainty, doubt largely maintained its $1.1 peg. Now, Tether has faced its own controversies about reserve transparency over the years, but its resilience during crises, often attributed to holding lots of cash and liquid equivalents, has been key.
So for someone in Venezuela using USDT to save, that peg holding is everything.
Absolutely paramount, non-negotiable. FTX showed the danger of centralized risk. Tether's performance during crises for many users in these economies has reinforced its utility as a reliable digital dollar, an anchor in the chaos.
Okay, it's one thing to hear these powerful stories, but the data, the metrics behind these trends are also crucial. We can't show charts, but what do they reveal?
Indeed. And the question is, how do we quantify these shifts? Well, for instance, charts plotting Venezuela's crazy inflation alongside USDT trading volumes show a really powerful visual correlation.
As inflation spikes, USDT usage follows.
Exactly. It's a striking upward trajectory for both, almost in tandem. It's not just theory, it's measurable. The charts confirm stablecoin adoption isn't random. It's a direct reaction to economic stress. Steeper inflation curve, sharper stablecoin volume curve, an undeniable link.
What other data points help paint the picture?
We can look at stablecoin dominance in LATAM markets. What's the market share of USDT versus USDC versus DAI? That tells us about preferences, competition. If USDT dominates, it suggests strong network effects. If others gain traction, it might signal shifts in trust or preference for different models.
And tracking actual usage, not just trading.
That's where on-chain volume comes in, specifically tracking daily USDT transfers to wallets in Venezuela. That offers a direct measure of real usage, not just exchange trading. It helps track the true grassroots movement number of transactions, value flow within the economy via stablecoins. It separates real-world utility from pure speculation. And understanding the differences between them matters too. USDT is oldest, most adopted, great liquidity. USDC is known for compliance, transparency. DAI is decentralized, backed by other crypto, appealing to those avoiding central risk. Users choose based on their priorities, ubiquity, perceived safety, decentralization.
And you mentioned people paying a premium. What does that tell us?
That's where PDP premium spreads get fascinating. The difference between the official exchange rate and the stablecoin price in PDP markets shows the true demand, the perceived value of stable digital currency versus failing fiat.
So if people pay way more in bolivars for USDT than the official rate for a physical dollar.
It signals deep distrust in the bolivar and a desperate need for stability. These P2P premiums reflect the market's real assessment of the bolivar's value, often way off the official rate. It essentially reveals the shadow economy, or maybe more accurately, the real economy's valuation, diverging significantly from government figures.
And comparing remittance flows, crypto versus traditional.
That data starkly shows crypto's efficiency and cost-effectiveness. An increasing chunk of remittances flows via crypto, bypassing high fees, slow speeds, bad rates of traditional methods. The premiums in remittance data paint a vivid picture of a parallel economy built out of necessity, driven by people's urgent needs.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up. We've taken a really deep dive into Venezuela's economic turmoil and seen this incredible story of human ingenuity, technological adoption. We've seen how stablecoins, especially these Binance dollars or USDT, aren't just niche finance products. They're a genuine lifeline for millions facing hyperinflation, acting as a de facto currency. This huge shift highlights crypto's role in solving real-world crises, impacting individuals, investors, and even challenging governments.
What's really compelling here is how these intense real-world pressures are actively accelerating the future of finance. It's not just influencing it, it's speeding it up. We saw the parallels in Turkey and Argentina, the contrast with El Salvador's Bitcoin path, the resilience of PDP against crackdowns. It really raises a big provocative question. Is what we're seeing in Venezuela and other emerging markets a preview? A glimpse into a future where stablecoins become a foundational pillar of global commerce, maybe even outpacing traditional fiat in many parts of the world.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? As you reflect on this deep dive, consider this. In our interconnected world, facing all sorts of economic challenges, how might stablecoins keep reshaping our understanding of money, of value, of financial freedom? Could this trend truly mean stablecoins outgrow Bitcoin and Ethereum in everyday use cases, becoming the actual financial plumbing for the next generation? We'll leave that thought for you to ponder. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into a truly critical and, I think, incredibly relevant topic. We sincerely hope you found these insights valuable, thought-provoking, maybe sparked a few aha moments. If you did, and you appreciate us bringing you these in-depth explorations, please take just a quick moment to like this video, subscribe to the Deep Dive channel, and definitely hit that notification bell. Your engagement, honestly, it genuinely helps our deep dives reach more curious minds like yours. It boosts our visibility in the algorithm, and really importantly, it allows us to keep creating this type of quality crypto content for you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and above all, keep learning.